Archaeologists uncover a pile of human bones inside a prehistoric cave. The bones are not buried, they are mixed with animal remains and broken stone tools. Thin cut marks run across the joints. Long bones have been smashed open, skulls have been cracked. These are not the random marks of teeth, weather, or falling rocks. They look like butchery. Someone removed the flesh, opened the bones for marrow, and treated a human body like hunted prey. But why? Was it starvation? A ritual? Revenge? Or was cannibalism a darker part of prehistoric life than we want to admit? Cannibalism leaves no written confession. Archaeologists reconstruct it from damage on skeletons. Cuts near joints can show where limbs were separated. Scraping marks may reveal flesh removal. Heavy impacts on long bones can indicate marrow extraction. Crushed skulls may suggest access to the brain. At some sites, human bones were processed in the same way as deer, horses, or other animals nearby. That comparison matters because a cut mark alone does not prove someone was eaten. Bodies can also be cleaned, dismembered, moved, or prepared during funerals. The strongest cases combine several signs: systematic defleshing, deliberate breakage, human tooth marks, burning, and discarded remains. The bones do not tell us what people believed, but they can tell us what people did. At Gran Dolina in northern Spain, researchers found butchered remains of an early human species dating back roughly 800,000 years. The victims included children and adolescents. Their bones showed cuts, fractures, and processing patterns similar to animal carcasses from the same site. This did not look like one desperate act during a sudden disaster. It appeared organized and repeated. Perhaps rival humans were treated as another prey species. That does not mean every prehistoric group behaved this way. Prehistory included many different human populations, but it proves that cannibalism was not limited to our own species. The simplest explanation is starvation. Imagine a group trapped by winter. Game disappears. Stored food is gone. Every root has been dug up. A dead body becomes a source of calories. At Sidrón Cave in Spain, Neanderthal remains show cut marks and bones broken for marrow. The individuals also carried signs of serious developmental stress, suggesting that life had repeatedly been difficult. This makes survival cannibalism possible. But possible is not the same as proven. Human flesh was not especially efficient food. A large animal provided far more energy and fat. Hunting humans was also dangerous. So when normal prey was available, calories alone may not explain the choice. At Gough's cave in England, people living about 14,700 years ago carefully processed human bodies. They removed flesh, broke bones for marrow, and shaped parts of several skulls into smooth containers called skull cups. This was more than frantic feeding. The work was controlled. The skulls were cleaned, struck along planned lines, and trimmed around the edges. Were these cups used to honor the dead, absorb an ancestor's strength, display an enemy, or hold drink during a ceremony? We do not know. The same act could express grief, respect, fear, domination, or hatred. To modern eyes, consuming a relative seems like the ultimate violation. To another culture, allowing the body to rot might have seemed worse. Cannibalism can transform violence into a message. Eating an enemy destroys more than the body. It denies burial, erases identity, and turns a person into an object. A victorious group could use it to humiliate rivals, frighten survivors, or display complete victory. The problem is that revenge leaves no unique mark on bone. A femur broken for marrow looks similar whether the victim was loved, hated, or found dead during famine. Archaeology can often prove consumption. It rarely proves emotion. That is why dramatic claims must be treated carefully. Not every damaged skeleton is evidence of a feast. And not every feast was an act of starvation. The darkest truth is not that prehistoric humans constantly hunted one another for dinner. There is no evidence that human meat was ordinary daily food for most populations. The darker truth is that cannibalism appeared in different places, periods, and human species for different reasons. Sometimes bodies were food, sometimes they were enemies, sometimes they may have remained part of the community through a final ritual. Prehistoric people were not mindless savages. They cared for injured companions, raised children, created art, buried the dead, and built complex social worlds. And some of those worlds included practices that now horrify us. A butchered human bone cannot tell us whether the knife was held with hunger, anger, or grief. It only preserves the movement of the blade. That is what makes prehistoric cannibalism so unsettling. The people who did it were not monsters from another planet. They were human beings, making choices inside worlds we can barely understand. And under enough pressure, belief, or hatred, the distance between their world and ours may be much smaller than we think.